Cold turkey is wonderful on sandwiches, but as far as breaking habits go, guys, I got a better solution for you this new year. And I'm, of course, talking about my sponsor, Fume. Fume is an amazing, award-winning, innovative, flavored air device. And it's built to help you part ways with old habits. Instead of electronics, vapors, and harmful chemicals, Fume is completely natural, and it uses flavored air. This is a habit you can feel free to enjoy, and it makes replacing your bad habit very easy. This will fill the void in a natural, guilt-free way. It's easy, enjoyable, and it's even fun. Fume has served over 150,000 customers and has tens of thousands of success stories. And there's no reason that the next success story can't be you. Your Fume comes with an adjustable airflow dial. This is so satisfying. Do you hear that? It's so satisfying to play with this thing. And it's designed with removable parts, and it's also got magnets for fidgeting. Pick up the Journey Pack today. Try it for yourself. Go to tryfume.com/Chael. That's going to get you 10% off. Or scan the QR code just as easy. Make sure you use the code Chael to get that 10% discount. Oh, Tom Aspinall got tested on Saturday, whether you know it or not, and he passed that test. Now, let's back up. If there's one thing that Curtin Blaydes is going to give you unexpectedly, it's a meaningful and successful call-out, right? None of you predicted that. But Curtin Blaydes went for it, and I've never understood where the disconnect with the community and Curtis has come from. I've even asked you guys, hey, don't tell me you don't like him. Yet you don't. And here's my proof as to how I know you don't like Curtis. I lay out my whole case, all the great things that Curtis has done. Other guys taking a similar path, which there's very few. I mean, Curtis has shown a path of courage. He fights Francis when nobody else will, loses in 28 seconds, begs to fight him again. They tell him yes, but at short notice and he's got to go to a different continent. He did it. Loses even faster the second time and begs to fight him a third time. I mean, those are the kinds of guys that historically have always gotten behind. So, Curtis doesn't call out a Tom. And good for Curtis for doing it. Curtis said we have unfinished business. Interesting. I can't give that a problem. That's not what I would have advised him, but I can't give him a problem with that. That's a story. That'll make people ask. And I'm a hardcore. So I can't say that he did it wrong. I would have liked if it was just a little bit more direct with exactly what happened. I mean, it's almost a riddle that you've got to solve. But Curtis went to Tom's home, was the underdog, and was done in victory in 22 seconds. Tom went on to a sold-out Madison Square Garden and a championship of the world, which now also gives him a new contract that has a clause that calls for participation. The only way you can get rich in this sport. There's only one way. If there's a dream, everything's a dream. There's one way. You must have in your contract participation within the pay-per-view, which is a beyond generous thing for a company to do, but this company does it. 4 champions defending. Tom is now a champion who will be defending. I mean, I'm just bringing that to you, and I would like if Curtis then went even further to say, and here I am on an undercard. I think he really would have made a powerful case to get Tom to have to respond. Well, Curtis didn't do that. He called it unfinished business, but he still got Tom to respond. Tom said yes. And that's where Tom was being tested. You never say no. You never say no. You never find a reason. You never, ever say no. When you have a guy, let's say there's a gap and it's a ridiculous call out. Don't ever say there's a gap. I'm too famous or I'm ranked too. Whatever your case is, you say yes. Then if you're right about the case, if you're right that there's a gap too big, if you're right that there's a popularity and or a ranking, the second floor at the UFC will figure that out. You won't have to do anything. All you ever do is say yes. But I didn't know if Tom would pass that test, and he did. Oh, he passed. Oh, gosh, he passed it so well. I have been so impressed with Tom Aspinall as a human, but also as a champion. I don't know if you have a champion in the UFC who has provided better leadership. I get that he's a very new champion. I get that it's an interim champion. I get that he hasn't had a ton of time to go screw things up. But he's had enough time to end up on TMZ. He's had enough time to be out on the town past midnight where nothing good happens. He's had enough time to back down and renegotiate with the company and tell us all what a big deal he is. But he hasn't done any of those things, and he just passed a big test, and he told Curtis Blaydes yes. Now, how does Curtis actually make that happen? Because it's a very interesting opportunity Curtis is in. He went for a call-out, which isn't like him. And he got it. He got it. He got the champion of the world to tell him yes. I mean, we're all done here. In the world of, was it a good call-out? We can go back and forth, but there is a litmus test. I mean, you could bumble and stumble. You can do it in sign language if you want. You can put it on a pigeon or send it in a fax. If you get the champion, in fact, let's back it down from there. If you get the person you called out to accept the call, you did it. Right? You don't need to hear from the expert in the room. Now, why can't they make that fight? See, and this is the part where Curtis has got to figure out. Why can't they make that? Seems to make sense. They already fought once. It sold out the arena, so we know there's places we can go that people are interested. I beat him. Curtis needs to stay right there. He needs to stay right there if he's in the mind of the decision maker. What if I do beat him? Is me beating him the problem to me getting an opportunity to face him? And if it is, then that, now that he's got the yes from Tom, Curtis needs to go full speed ahead on solving that problem. Is there somebody somewhere that could interfere with me getting my interim title shot with Tom? That is worried about the consequence if I come out the other side, which means do I draw well into Jon Jones? And once Curtis sees the problem, which I just identified, he needs to go full speed into Jon Jones. Leave Tom out of it. He brought Tom in. Tom said yes. Leave him out of it. Tom's not going to go back to you, Curtis. Believe me, as soon as that contract is signed, he's going to be talking about Jon Jones. And I just thought Curtis did a really good job. I don't know where he doesn't get his credit. I really don't. Tom Aspinall, our champion of the world, just gave it to him. It was a good thing to see. It was the right thing to see. It was a cool moment. And Tom Aspinall has really only spoke about one guy. I don't know if you guys have paid close enough attention. And Tom didn't say, I want to fight Almeida. He didn't say that, but he laid out the division with him as he's at the top of it. He's at the top. But before you even bring Jon Jones in, Jon Jones has said what I'm saying. Jon Jones told Tom, don't let me hold you up. Do not wait for me. I'm going over here and I might not go anywhere. Like, Jon has let him know. So you are the guy, man. Go do your thing, run your career, and don't let me slow you down. So it's a very big deal. And Tom has only spoke about one guy. He didn't say, I'm fighting Almeida next. He didn't do that. But Tom very clearly stared at that division and was impressed with Almeida. He very clearly, if you listen to Tom's interviews, right, it's not always what he says. You got to hear what Tom also doesn't say. And if you haven't heard those interviews, then just take it from me. When Tom looked at the division, the guy he thought that was going to be the cream that rises to the top was Almeida. That's who Tom personally was watching. And Tom within him doesn't believe in avoiding the hard fights. Tom within him believes this is a competition before it is entertainment. And you take on the right guy. He thought that Almeida was going to be and proved to be the right guy. So I give you that because it's fair play. You look at Curtis, we've got some unfinished business as he chose to word it. You also beat the guy I thought was the guy. Curtis stepped up, said he's not going to fight Surreal. And that surprised me. I mean, one good win on an undercard. You're not in a position to start telling us who you're not going to fight, but Curtis laid out his case, and now I'm with him. He said that I offered that to Surreal. That ship has sailed. I'm not going to do that now. I also get that could be a way of getting it, or you change your mind the next day. But just let's not take it with a grain of salt. Let's just take one quick look at that. Because Thomas said the same thing about Surreal. Now, I didn't know that Curtis had gone after Surreal. I didn't know that. I watched Tom. I'm glad Tom is saying no. Right? I mean, after Tom sat in the front row and laid that out, Surreal didn't take it. I mean, I'm just saying in all fairness. But why is nobody going after Surreal? Is he more scary than I think? Is he more dangerous than I think? And Surreal isn't going after anybody else. I mean, there are other answers, which is he's a nice guy and everybody likes him. I don't know Surreal, but he does come across as a pretty cool guy and everybody does seem to like him. But if they're not calling you out, it's kind of your job. Somebody's got to get this going. Surreal's ranked very high off the top of my head. I believe he's number 2. I believe Blaydes is number 5. Somebody's got to get that going. Blaydes and Aspinall say they'll fight each other. They say they won't fight Surreal. It's a good place to start. Surreal can either disrupt that or go in a different direction. Or he can sit there and do nothing. Eventually his phone will ring. There's a few ways to do your career. If I was the heavyweights number 1 guy, their former champion, I would not be choosing the latter of those options.